even though she is going to be leaving her post in October. In regards to Bruins Engage, we had a fantastic meeting with Ken Keller, who's president of the URC. The URC is going to be making some really interesting changes in the future, and they're definitely interested in student engagement. So if anyone's interested in making that connection, please let me know. Had the opportunity to attend day 2 of the UCSA Student Organizing Summit, where we had fantastic panels on basic need security and affordability. If anyone's interested in those 2 issues specifically, they were great people to meet with. And if you're interested in getting next to them, I'm sure Chloe can help, or I'm happy to help as well. And we also had a great meeting with Vice Chancellor Michael Beck. Some of his priorities, if anyone's interested, are pre-K through 12 education, especially with the new Geffen Academy that's starting on September 5th. He's particularly interested in outdoor study space as well, so I spoke to Zara, we'll be connecting them, and expanding broom casting, so we'll be speaking to Divya about that as well, and strategic planning overall going into Westwood given our increased enrollment. We have some really great insights on how to navigate the Westwood Neighborhood Council. In regards to appointments, the applications are still out. Our next deadline for appointments is August 13th. It would be really fantastic if you could all share that opportunity. I'll email the application out once again to you all. And I did two last updates. Zara and I attended the Westwood Neighborhood Council meeting last night alongside Harshan and Josh from GSA. To say the least, I think the council is very much surprised by this new intensified student engagement, which is important. I believe Chloe also mentioned this in her update, and I'm sure Zara probably mentioned as well. They have a new ad hoc committee for student engagement, thanks to the advocacy of those students. So we want to applaud them, and really excited to see this increased engagement within Westwood, given that we make up such a large part of the council's constituency. And lastly, I do want to publicly thank Jessica. The press office is currently going through an intense remodel. It seems like it hasn't been touched in a very long time, so I want to thank you for all your help in that. And that's it for me. Any questions? Fantastic.
Oh, can I add a comment? It's just, she's
on perfect. Yeah. So I will add that. Great. Oh, thank you. What's the URC? The URC is the University Religious Conference. It's basically a coalition of a lot of the faith-based organizations in Unicamp. Yeah, they used to have a building, recently sold it, so now they have a budget of about $10 million. And they're looking to see the best way to use that, those without having on campus. Any other questions? Great, so we'll move on to the internal vice president.
So the academic planning and budget department, they're currently forming a team called the Institutional Research and Analytics team, and they're trying to build some data product to serve the student, and they're asking for any students to be on the advisor board, but they're picking, I think, students who have a background of stats or anyone who's on the student government. So I don't know if anyone of you are interested, so please tell me and I can connect you.
Could you repeat just what that was exactly?
It's like a team, institutional research and analytics team.
Oh, okay.
To build like some data. He didn't tell me what kind of build, but they're asking for students to participate first.
Oh, thank you.
And also for the pamphlet or like the brochure, I still haven't get like a few brochures from you guys. I think Christina, Divya, if you guys are free, please send this description of your office when you're free, like this week. I think anyone else said it too. Yeah, and that's it.
So, any questions for Vivi? Seeing none, just in time. Do you want to go now, or we can come back to you?
We can come back.
Totally cool. We are going to move on to the financial supports commissioner is not present. Facilities.
So 2 things. So one, we're looking at waste management on a level aside from actually like placing waste to like recycling, composting, flushing. We realize that there are a lot of campus departments that are disposing of fully functional items. This could be anything from like office supplies like staplers to waste items like fully functional printers and computers. So we're trying to find a way to have a system where different campus departments can log in those items that they're planning to dispose of, and we can take those items and actually provide them to individual students or student groups who do apply for those sorts of items. So we are looking into that and hope to pursue it over the course of the year. Secondly, after attending the CFCC meeting yesterday, administration is working towards having designated spaces on campus for ride-hailing services for Uber and Lyft. So over the course of next year, they're trying to find a way where there will only be like several places on campus where students can get picked up or dropped off by Uber and Lyft. And obviously, there is a trade-off here. So one, it's more convenient for Lyft and Uber drivers because now they know where to drop off or pick up students. But their reasoning for this is because it's a traffic and congestion issue. But by having specific designated spaces for Uber and Lyft, that also focuses traffic and congestion to those specific areas. So we're working with GSA to have meetings with UCLA Transportation to get more information on what this is going to look like, how many designated spots that they want to have, where those types of spots would be, and how this would affect different student communities, specifically students with disabilities. Right now, there is the CAE van, which only runs from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then after those hours, students will have to rely on ride-sharing services such as Uber and Lyft to have a more convenient ride home. And if we do have this like designated system where there are only specific places on campus where they can get picked up and dropped off, that's an inaccessibility issue. So we want to work with administration to see if there are ways around us to ensure that students aren't being very negatively affected by this new change, and if we can reach a compromise as to how these designated spots will be established. So if you do have any interest in this or have any thoughts about these new changes, and please reach out to me because we want to make sure that as they continue to implement this, they are implementing it the right way.
Any questions for Zara?
So I actually have a question. Would you be interested, it might be interesting rather, to bring up this issue with the parking advocacy task force to see if having these designated spots makes it more convenient for students?
Yes, but with the parking advocacy task force, it looks like they're going to be formed in the fall.
Okay.
And right now, UCLA Transportation has already negotiated a deal with Lyft, and they're already looking into negotiating a deal with Uber. So it's going to be a lot more difficult to try to change things after they've been established rather than reaching a compromise before the deals are finalized. So that's why I want to start having these conversations now and ensuring that because at the end of the day, students are going to be disproportionately affected by this issue because it's the majority of the student population who do not have cars and rely on these ride-sharing services. So I want to make sure that we are doing this right and getting the conversation started now. As of now, their specific reasoning for this, or where they have like sort of case studies that they mentioned for these like designated, like they call it geofencing. They have it over at LAX where there are only specific spots where you can get picked up. But again, that's an airport versus a university. They also mentioned the CSO van service having designated stops. But after working with the CSO programs on the CSO van service over the course of the year, they have a max of around 200 rides over the course of several hours. So that's very different when we're comparing it to the volume of students that are using Uber and Lyft. So there's a lot to think about there.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the administrative representatives. Any reports or updates for us?
I just have.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
We are in negotiations with the Westwood Block Party that's going to be happening. So hoping to have Usac present and actively engaged in that, so that another opportunity for town gown relationship building and business connections. So opportunity to connect with the Westwood BID, which is a different kind of governing body, versus the Westwood Neighborhood Association versus the Westwood Neighborhood Council.
What's the date for the block party? September 24th.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I know that day they're gonna have a pen too.
Jessica?
So two quick updates. The first, kind of exciting, we finally have an alumni representative appointed for your administrative reps. So that kind of rounds out the administrative reps, and I'm going to be reaching out to him tomorrow and see when he can join us for his first meeting. And then the second thing is you might have received an email from Debbie and SGA. I'm not sure if it went through. We were merging our Outlook to Office 365, and so there were some issues with emails getting sent out. But essentially, for your office positions that you would like to stipend, for example, like a chief of staff, you can do that. It's within your office budget. So what you'll need to do now that the overall Usac budget has been approved, your offices will each just have one chunk of money that you were allocated. So now you're going to need to go in and allocate how much goes to programming, how much goes to, each line item of your individual budgets. And then that will kind of determine how much you have to work with in terms of a staff budget. So Debbie sent an email. It might have bounced back, so I'll make sure I re-forward that to you all. It has instructions. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to SGA. They can give you more details of how to move the money, how to allocate it, and then how to get the paperwork to fill out for any staff positions that you would like to have stipend.
Where are the funds coming from? Is it ESCO?
I think it kind of depends on everybody's office budgets. Yeah, so I mean, certain referendum money will be already allocated to a specific purpose, so that you'll already know exactly how much to budget into that line item. And it's basically whatever remaining money you have that is not for a specific purpose, that will be your staff budget. But yeah, if you have any questions about that, definitely reach out to SGA because they are very familiar with that, and so they can be a good resource. Any questions? We'll now move back to the Academic Affairs Commissioner.
So, our Secretary of Outreach is working on a not only two things. She's doing a survey for all the mother orgs to see how we can better help and assist the access and attention projects within the mother orgs, and also working. So in 1998, the Academic Affairs Commission came out with about a 100-page booklet on admissions statistics for students because they come in for the Global Access Project or the Global Leadership Connections Conference for students within the Access projects. So what the Secretary of Outreach is working on right now is a updated version of the 1998 statistics for students that are coming in. So each of those will be specific to each of the Access projects and how students have gotten in from those different projects within those 8 mother boards. The Community Outreach Secretary is working with the Secretary of Finance within our office and getting outside grants for the students within the Access projects. The diversity requirement is working to deconstruct the cross-listed courses within the STEM fields of the diversity requirements so students can't skirt the line of the ethnic studies roots of what the diversity requirement was meant to do. Academic policy is working on class enrollment, updating or giving updates on emails 2 weeks in advance for enrollment because currently we don't have that right now. Academic equity is working in September for the notebook drive. We're giving out fundraising and we're fundraising right now and projecting to give out 500 notebooks within the first 2 days of school because we know that as students we barely remember to get anything anyways like school supplies while we're going to college. October is our breast cancer awareness project which we're working with Powell on. It'll be on Bruin Walk and students will be able to tie up ribbons and we'll be displaying it in Powell. And then November is International Education Week. The hashtag's going global and it's a whole week dedicated to international students and also giving students statistics on their own retention if they are able to go abroad and those financial resources that are available for them. And then also in winter, this is really fun. In winter, so everyone knows winter quarter is kind of like, the winter blues, right? So the Academic Equity Squad is working on a block party in Westwood, similar to West Woodstock. So we can kind of get people riled up for something during winter quarter because usually there is a lull within that period of time. And then a little academic senate update. Christina and I are working on making sure that there's a push for mental health resources on syllabi. So what I talked to the academic senate about was an opt-in system. So faculty would be able to opt in to a resource guide that would be available for them that we're working on right now. And then it's the same type of opt-in system that they would be doing for Bruincast and Eco 360. And I think that's it for that. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
For the enrollment appointment one, so would you receive an email like 2 weeks before saying like, oh, this is going to be enrollment time?
Yeah.
Would there be the possibility of being able to have an option of like subscribing to updates or something?
Yeah, so that's what we're working on right now. It's like for class planning and enrollment, there's like the person, he's gonna do a presentation, he's amazing. Knows more than I do about this, which is hilarious. But he is working on a whole system of making sure that we can tackle what it means to over-enroll at UCLA, and then also those steps to make sure that students that are enrolled here are able to know when their times are before they happen. So there's gonna be those updates, but we're starting very small and then moving forward. So I don't know if there's gonna be updates right away with that, but we're working on making sure that there's at least an email that gets sent.
Okay.
Because a lot of students, I know I've forgotten about enrollment, and I'm the commissioner, so like whatever. But yeah, so that's just like gonna be helpful. Yeah.
I wonder if I love the mental health kind of resource thing. I wonder if you try to pair that with academic integrity too, in terms of the stress of.
I'm talking with Jasmine Rush right now, and
Yeah.
so what we're doing is with our student conduct appointment, we have office hours open for them, so students will be able to talk to a student that would sit on the conduct committee for them, because there is a student voice on that academic integrity. Or if a student does plagiarize, there's a whole hearing for it, right? And there's a student conduct appointment. I appoint the person that's in the student conduct, and then they'll have office hours for those students, so they'd be able to not only get Jasmine Rush's input on the situation, but also a student that would be on that panel. So that's
But I'm thinking about avoid another stress, and as you try to manage your mental health and that academic integrity, trying to mirror those two.
The thing with like academic integrity in general is professors are already mandated to put the plagiarism things on there. So what we would be adding to it is those office hours and those resources for students that if they do get in trouble, those are the places that they can go.
Or avoid
trouble. Yeah, to avoid trouble. And, well, if it happens, that's what happens. But yeah, I mean, people get stuck in like quotes and like parentheses and stuff like that. And like, if it happens, and there needs to be resources sent, like, it'll happen anyways. So I think that like avoiding it is like great, and making sure that they know how to avoid it is great too. But I think that sometimes like systems like technology don't really work in people's favor, and they need to be able to know. And I know that even just talking to Jasmine Rush, she was talking to me about how she's unable to really tell students if there is like form of plagiarism or not until she gets all the facts and meets with them after. So there's a whole process of a student not being able to really interact or not being able to really go through the whole ability to retain themselves through the
I've just seen some faculty do some really nice things about, hey, don't cheat, and here are the reasons why. And if you're feeling stressed, here are some great resources to manage that.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of angle, but it sounds like you've got it covered.
Yeah, covered on all angles, but thank you so much, Bob.
Just 2 quick comments.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the student conduct committee appointments and presidential appointment, just don't want us to double over efforts for no reason. But also, it'd be interesting to see if your institutional research and analytics could look into doing more research on access and retention on campus, so that we can use institutional resources towards the data collection, so that it's less of a burden on students.
So the data collection goes through the registrar.
So I think it would be really a show of commitment through UCLA as an institution to put more resources toward that. So it might be an interesting, because they are looking for student input, to see if there's an overlap there. Just a recommendation. Yeah. Any other questions? So that is the end of our officer member reports for tonight. We're now going to move on to fund allocations.
Yeah.
Great. Seeing as there are none,
Oh, wait, the ones from last week, we still have to approve those.
No, so because we delegated that power to you, and Vivi and I both approved them,
Okay.
they can be allocated. So there are no allocations for this week.
No, they're not.
Great. Seeing as we have no old business and no new business, are there any announcements? Yeah, David.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to announce that our office, we sent out an email like earlier today to the Constitutional Review Committee about how we just wanted to like get the ball rolling and like have a meeting. We sent out a proposal just like before we're swamped in school like and all of that. So yeah, we just want to like get the ball rolling, and yeah, that's our objective of the office.
So are we all a part of the Constitution?
So I would just ask if you could forward that to the entire council. Although there are certain council members who are part of the committee, the meetings are open to all council members. So just for the sake of access to, if you could forward that, that would be great.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Fantastic.
All right, okay.
Thank you. Yes.
I just had a question. Sorry, Jessica, is it okay if I release the guidelines on Platform's Facebook page and the Usac Facebook page? Is that allowed?
I mean, I don't see one.
Have the guidelines been presented to council for approval yet?
Oh, yeah, they were approved in May.
Yeah. And they've already been sent to Seoul.
I would maybe,
Yeah.
see if the webmaster can get it posted first and then share it, just so it's like official on the page first and then, blast about it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
It might be great too to post the link from the page too, so we can bring some more traffic to our Usac page too,
Okay.
so people know that it exists.
Okay.
That'd be great. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll now do the vocal roll call of attendance to close. President IVP.
Here.
EVP. Gen Rep 1.
Here.
Gen Rep 2.
Here.
Gen Rep 3.
Here.
AAC. CEC. CSC. She's here. Yes, great. CAC. Facilities. FSC. SWC. TSR. Okay, great. We'll now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Maybe second by Divya. All in favor? Sorry, roll call. I forgot. I get too excited. I am ready for the school year to begin. All right, IVP.
Here.
Gen Rep 1.
Yes.
AAC.
Here.
CSC. Great. Facilities. SWC. Seeing as all council members voted affirmatively, we have now adjourned our meeting. Goodbye. You said that.